Hello there. My name is Ian, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Joining me today as my guest co-host is Mr. Jaco, all the way from Rovigo, Italy, here to talk about the new box set from Jethro Tull, Still Living in the Past. So what this is it's a compilation of the band's early singles and B-sides with some album tracks and some then previously unreleased stuff. But it has been greatly expanded with some new tracks from the era flown right in, and that is controversial for some, although I think it flows nicely, but we can talk about that, of course. Yeah, I already did a review on this where I talked a lot about my feelings and the surround mix, as well as the new mixes of Carnegie Hall 1970. But the purpose of this is, I think, to get more into the CDs. Because I think I talked mostly about the Blu-ray, and of course, Jaco is going to be listening to the CDs and talk about some of the vintage mixes that are new here. And we're also going to open this up to viewer questions and concerns and different things. So, Jaco, I'm going to open it up to you. How you doing today?
Well, I'm doing pretty fine. It's been a very exhausting summer, even because of the temperatures over here. Like
Mm-hmm.
we may live in the past, but we're actually living in hell right now, temperature wise. So yeah, I'm not really much energetic today, but we'll do our best to
Yeah, I
make a
feel the
good.
same way. The allergies are really bad. Grass is up, pollen's up, and like I just called the grocery store, the local grocery store here, to
Mhm.
order hamburger buns, and I could barely get the word hamburger bun out without trying to sneeze. So I just want to preemptively apologize that if I'm in the middle of a sentence, like talking about Clive Bunker's dazzling but long drum solos, and I start to hesitate and sneeze, Jocko's just going to pick right up and take over, like we
Yeah,
share a brain.
I will sneeze in his place, so he can
Yeah,
go
he
on.
will sneeze in my place. That's right. He will take the sneeze. So I want to say
Right.
hi to Larry Babin, my
Hey,
buddy for a long
Larry.
time, buddy of both of
Hey,
us.
Lorenzo. Hey there, man.
How you
Nice
doing,
to see
man?
you, man.
Good afternoon. So, Jocko,
Yeah,
the folks at home have already heard my opinions on this wonderful box set,
yeah.
which I gushed over quite a bit. Larry says this is the album that solidified my love of Tull when it was released, and
Oh, yeah.
for me, I'll just talk about how I personally feel about it. And it was a big part of my early years. It's like, you know, Tull was always there for me, and I remember being very, very young and hearing this material for the first time, and that's honestly, when I go back and listen to it, it takes me right back to those days of my
Yeah.
youth. So yeah, I guess I could turn that over to you, Jocko. What's your history with this album?
Well, it was one of my first Jethro Tull's albums as well, and I would say that it's a really good starting point, even though it wasn't mine, because you get to hear everything that Jethro Tull was about from 1968 to 1972, just before Thick as a Brick, even though this one came out after Thick as a Brick. And with the previous box sets, I kind of lost touch with the Living in the Past album, because everything that was on it was also, I mean, music wise, everything that was on the original album except for side three was also on the previous box sets. So I kind of lost touch with these configurations of the
Mm-hmm.
music. But it was one of my favorite albums way back when I was discovering Jethro Tull, because it surprises me that Ian Anderson says that Jethro Tull were never a singles band, because I think they did some fantastic, some of the best tracks from the era were singles, in my opinion, at least. I mean, it's not my opinion that they were singles. I mean, it's my opinion that they were some of the best tracks from the era. And you could probably feel this kind of disdain for singles, because barely any of those tracks were part of the live stage show at the time. I mean, I can only think of Sweet Dream, which was played for a short while in 1979. And even though Ian Anderson says they never played it, there are some vintage recordings of Living in the Past as an instrumental from
Oh,
1969, 1970. Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't
the
aware of that.
yeah, they're just on a few rare tapes, rare audience tapes. from just before they recorded Benefits, so hardly a stage number or but anyway, this box set here, it's an interesting. I mean, I'm just gonna show my copy here, just because you didn't bring yours, so.
No, it's across the room. It's very hot, and it's like it's so sweaty down here that my hand will stick to it. And it's like I don't want that.
You don't want to leave your fingerprints. I mean, physically, you don't want to leave your
Yeah,
fingerprints
exactly. I want to keep my fingerprints because is like you said, it's hell outside. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I did want to mention that, of course, a song for Jeffrey
Hmm.
was played live because it's on the Carnegie Hall set. And
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was talking about the singles.
oh,
Not,
right,
not
right, right.
yeah, the songs that were released just as.
Just as singles.
Yeah, I mean, even Love Story. I mean, we don't have. Unfortunately, we do not have any audience recordings from the Mick Abraham's era, but it's on one of the BBC sessions, so we could assume that it was part of the live set back then.
Yeah.
But not for long. I mean, I the first version of Love Story that I've heard with Martin Barr on guitar is from the 90s.
Yes.
So yeah, it was hardly a stage classic. And of course, what's any other band would have played Teacher live every night. Of course, they didn't.
Yeah. Although there Beat Club footage of them doing that live with Ian on the gold top
No, they're
guitar.
miming it. They're
Oh,
miming
they're
it.
miming it. Okay, my
Yeah.
bad.
This said, they played it live a couple of times during the minstrel era. I don't know if you have ever heard those versions.
Which one is that?
Teacher live,
Teacher.
live in 1975 a
I
couple of
don't
times.
think I've heard the 75 version of that, but that is interesting. Now, was it closer to the UK version or was it closer to the US
It's
version?
closer to the US versions.
Sure.
It has flute. It was, on the minstrel in the gallery box set. There's the My God medley. For a couple of shows, instead of doing "Living in the Past," they did a couple of verses from Teachers, solid vocals and all. It
Huh.
was, and then just at the end, it would. No, wait, it wasn't "My God." It was "New Day Yesterday." So yeah, they would play that in the middle of A New Day Yesterday in 1975, but it didn't last very long. I think I
Yeah.
have just a couple of shows with it, but yeah, they did play it. And I saw that song live, but that was like in 2015, so we're talking about
Yeah.
completely different eras here.
Yeah, but for me, it's like this era of Jethro Tull represents a relative simplicity that maybe was lost over the next decade or so. And here's the thing. This set is an epiphany for me because, as much as I loved living in the past or loved it, to me, Jethro Tull started with Thick as a Brick and, went through, I mean, like I like all of it, but like maybe Under Wraps is like the last, in my opinion, classic Tull album.
Mhm.
But this has opened my eyes to the brilliance of that early era. And now I understand why there's a lot of fans out there who say, yeah, it's all the first four albums for me. Because for one thing, Clive Bunker is hugely underrated as a drummer.
Yeah.
And I always was under the impression that Barry Barlow was a huge step up from Clive. But having listened to all those early singles and the Carnegie Hall live set,
Hmm.
and with the understanding that Barry Barlow does not show up until Life's a Long Song, which is
Yeah.
the last 10 minutes of the original album.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's not really representative. You can't really listen to it and think, yeah, this is Barrymore Barlow. On those songs, it
no,
could be
it,
anyone.
it's a lateral move from
Yeah.
from from one to the next, and that
Hmm.
that is just an astonishing epiphany for me. Also, how great Glenn Cornick
Oh yeah.
was. And that is obviously on display in Carnegie Hall, especially. But like, let's just take a moment and talk about the two versions of Teacher, because I think that that's a fascinating subject in and of itself.
Mhm.
And obviously, like a lot of people might have said that the main thing that separates the UK and the US version is the guitar instead of kind of the flute being prominent. But what I'm noticing on these new mixes is that I think that it's Clive Bunker's performance that
Oh yeah.
makes the difference between the
Well,
two versions.
you gotta keep
Because
in mind. No, no, no. Go on, go on, go on.
I was going to say that Clive's playing on the UK version is more jazzy, it's more sophisticated. But when you get to the US version, Clive's playing is more direct. And
Mm-hmm.
there's advantages to that as well. There's advantages to being direct. And I think that so much of what maybe made that song a hit is Clive and Glenn's work on that song. Not to
Oh
mention,
yeah,
John Evans' organ work is incredible.
yeah.
But yeah, I actually, that's like one example of like, I love the fact that we have both versions next to each other in the track
Mm-hmm.
list because they're different enough to be fascinating.
Yeah, and you gotta keep in mind that the original version of Teacher, the UK one was specifically recorded to be a B-side. Like if you take a look at the Benefit box set, the book version,
Yeah.
I think the working title of it was like B-side to single, something like that. I mean, it was specifically quickly written together, quickly thrown together to be the flip side of The Witch's Promises.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and was the record company that they heard the song and they say, well, that one's great. This one could be a hit if it was
Yeah.
presented differently.
Yeah.
I love both versions of it. I like to
Me
listen to
too.
them back to back because every version of it has its charm, and they also have a kind of slightly different structure,
Hmm. Yeah.
because uh, even lyrically, they repeat. Because teacher has two different set of words in the chorus, What? How do you pronunciate that? Well, anyway. Um, and they're different between the two versions. Like there are different repetitions, and then of course there's the UK version ends with reprise of the middle part of it, while they keep on the US version they keep jamming on it. They're
Hmm.
just very good versions. I really enjoy that song. I'm surprised that Ian Anderson doesn't think much of it, but I think that's probably just a facade, because if he didn't like that enough, he would have, he wouldn't have resurrected that one for recent tours. So I think it's just, being
Yeah.
Ian Anderson. Yeah.
I think it's one of the iconic Jethro Tull songs.
Hmm.
So how do we want to structure this conversation? Do we want, I mean, going track by track would just be insane.
Yeah.
Um, but
I think
do we
we
want to
should
talk
just,
about, like our highlights?
well, I think we should probably concentrate on the songs that are unique to, well, not unique to Living in the Past, but I mean, the ones that are not album tracks, like, but that's not going to be easy either, because we
I
got
was going to
some
say
other.
like
Yeah.
there's 2025 mixes, like,
Hmm.
um, for instance, like I have grown to really love the song, A Song for Jeffrey, which
Hmm.
originally closed out This Was, which I would admit This Was is not one of my favorite Jethro Tull albums, but
Hmm.
there's a couple of like really amazing songs on it. And that's one
Well,
of them is A Song for Jeffrey.
as Larry
And
would probably point out, it didn't close. This was it. Round closed. This
well, of
was.
course, Round. How could I forget Round? Round and round we go. Um, I knew we'd come around to it, but here's what I didn't know. I didn't know that A Song for Jeffrey was Beefheart influenced. And now that I read that, I can't unhear it. And
Hmm.
then when you go to the Carnegie Hall version, it sounds even more Beefhearty to
That's
me
the
with
that's the
Clive
def-
is like, hmm?
that's the definitive version of the song, in my opinion. The one at the Carnegie Hall.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it smokes. It absolutely smokes. And I hear a lot of John French in what Clive's playing, because that, I wanted to highlight, Johnny B was talking about comparing Clive and Barry. Um, one of the things that I think separates Clive and Barry is that Clive allowed his drum arrangements to grow from night to night. Like he would not play the song the same way night to night. And so by the time you get to hear a song from Song for Jeffrey by 1970, it's much more sophisticated. The original take of it's very direct, which I like too,
Hmm.
but the live version of this is hot.
Yeah. Incidentally, Song for Jeffrey wasn't that much played live in 1970. I think that was the only time I came across, this show. I think it's the only show I've heard from 1970 with a Song for Jeffrey on it. So I think maybe they were doing that because they were recording the show or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I saw Clive Bunker live in 2017, and he was still at it. It was one of the his style was very different. It was more polished than he used to be with Jethro Tull, because I think if he was like 60 or 70 years old when I saw him, and if you keep playing like that, your back will completely abandon you, like it happened with poor old Phil Collins.
Yeah.
So I think he actually started something, because he was playing. It was very powerful, but he wasn't playing like this, like he used to do on the
Yeah.
way
Do
back
you
then.
do you agree with Johnny's take here that it's like replacing John Bonham with a Zappa drummer?
Oh yeah,
Do
I
you agree
mean,
with that take?
I don't think he's saying that Barrymore Barlow is like a Zappa drummer. I think he's saying that the styles are completely different
Yeah.
and more focused on other aspects. And yeah, I think so. I think I always had a soft spot for Jethro Tull drummers for any incarnation. So
Yeah.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
my favorites, and of course, Clive and Barry would be the two at the top for me. Mark Craney as well, and yeah, I even have some sort of affection for John Perry because he
It,
lasted so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Doan is maybe my favorite Jethro Tull drummer.
All right.
Just because I mean when I saw Jethro Tull, he was the drummer. So
Me too. Me too.
like
Yeah.
he's like he and Peggy are like the rhythm section that I think of, even though Peggy wasn't in the band when I saw them.
Hmm.
But I just think of that as, to me, as the iconic Jethro Tull
Well,
rhythm section. That's just,
when no,
personal
no,
taste thing.
he was great. The first time I saw Jethro Tull was in 2007, and it wasn't a particularly good night for the band because Ian Anderson was sick. The acoustics of the place weren't really good. The sound was terrible, and I did enjoy the show, but it wasn't a great show by Jethro Tull. And the only one who never made a mistake and played powerfully was John Perry. He
Yeah, well,
was
there you go.
spot on from start to end. It was fantastic.
And it's interesting to me that, of course, see, you can correct me, but I'm under the impression that they revived Fat Man for Doan, because wasn't that something that they brought back for the '84 tours?
No, it was played when in '82 for the first time. I think. I
Okay.
mean, uh, Jerry Conway wasn't the drummer. What was the name of the other drummer they had in
The
1982?
dude from 10cc, right? It was
Yeah, he also played with Camel. I can't remember the name. Paul
yeah.
Barges. Barges.
Yeah, Paul Burgess.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. But
And
that's what Doan had to do, and we're getting a little bit off topic here, but Doan had to cover all of the ground of everybody who came before him.
mhm,
He
yeah,
had to be the hard hitter like Clive. He had to be the sophisticated, although I think Clive is sophisticated, but he had to be more sophisticated and refined like Barry.
mhm.
He had to be a little bit of everything.
Well, it
Um,
helped that he was a big Jethro Tull fan when he joined the
yes,
band, so he
yes.
knew the material pretty well. Yeah,
But
yeah,
let's
all right.
let's take a couple comments here. Clive Bunker was also in Live Herald by Steve Hillage. Yes, that's a great set. And one of my rock and roll holy grails is I'd love to hear Jude, which is Clive's band with Robin Trower and James Dewar. And that's right after he left Jethro Tull, but I don't think that band ever recorded. I think they
Uh,
just played live, but I'd love to hear that.
Maybe there are a couple of recordings. I mean, I would guess that if Robin Trower plays live with a new incarnation of the band and plays a few more shows, someone would probably sneak a cassette player
But that
somewhere.
wasn't. But at that time, Trower wasn't Trower. He had
All
just left
right.
Procol Harum, and this is
Well,
prior to Twice Removed from Yesterday.
yeah,
Now,
but I
as
mean,
I understand it, I think Clive may have actually guested on some Bridge of Sighs shows.
mhm,
After this would have been after Trower's first drummer, Reg Isidore, left,
mhm.
and before he picked up Sly Stone's guy.
Okay.
Bill Lorden, before Bill Lorden entered. So I think there was a brief time where Clive actually did rejoin the band, because he's interviewed in the Bridge of Sighs set which is interesting. But Zeb says, what's next in the Jethro camp outside of the Under Wraps Deluxe? I wonder if they will give MU and Repeat a box set too.
Oh God, I hope not.
I doubt it because
Yeah.
I doubt it because well, anyway.
What would be the point? Yeah, it's not as iconic as Living in the Past, and they only have a couple of unreleased songs that we already got on the War Child box set. I mean, it's not the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And I just don't think there's as much interest in that sort of thing. Like for me, like I had the nostalgic emotional connection to the Living in the Past album where
Mhm.
I would get in the mood to hear it. And what I would do is I would pull out the bonus discs on all the box sets. I say that, but like the extras are on the DVDs. So like I'd pop in the Aqualung DVD and just play the extras down.
Mhm.
Or I would pop in the Benefit DVD
Mhm.
and listen to that, or I'd listen to the extras. It was a Christmas tradition for me to listen to a Christmas song and love story off of This Was. So I love having this all together in one space, even if some of it is repeated material. What I think it does is it actually delivers on the original intention of the box of the Living in the Past set, which was to collect all this rare
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
and put it on vinyl, put it on albums so that people who had, the other stuff or were just getting into the band could discover it. But
Mhm.
at the time, you got to remember a lot of these singles and stuff were deleted and they weren't available. And it's much the same story. Like Living in the Past really hasn't been in print for a while.
Mhm.
So I think that this is a really worthwhile set. Now I
Yeah,
know
and
it's also been a few fans have suggested like the 20th box set, which is it's like I have some I don't know
no,
how I feel about that.
I think what made them want to do Living in the Past as a box set is that compilation or not, that one was considered a part of the discography.
Yeah,
It was an album just as much as the others. While stuff like MU or Repeat, those two were always compilations.
right.
And so I personally see no point on but I think Zeeb was joking about this. I don't think he was being serious here. But yeah,
He
I know
also
people.
I'm sorry.
And I know people that are wanting a 20 years of Jethro Tull deluxe version. I don't see the point for that either.
No.
Uh,
But yeah, Zeb says, "What do you guys think of the band Carmen with John Glasscock?" I think they're good, but I'm not
They're
in love with
okay.
them. Like
Yeah,
I don't play it that often, but I think they're good. I think it's worthwhile stuff.
I heard some of that, and it was fine, but I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah.
Mm,
So you're obviously you're coming to this, as I said, from a different perspective as me. I was covering specifically the Blu-ray, which has
mhm,
everything on it.
mhm. Yeah.
And I thought, let's maybe go back to disc one, which I didn't really listen to a lot of.
Hmm.
And maybe you could tell me your thoughts on some of these unreleased vintage mixes. Is there anything
Well,
that you found here?
well, first of all, before talking about those, I would like to say that I'm very pleased that we have new transfers for the 71 remixes.
Yeah.
Because, what was that? The MoFi edition that you have there? The
Yep.
DCC one?
Yep. I
Yeah,
do have that. Yep.
that one is really good. But
Hmm.
I feel like the new transfers are even better than that.
You think so?
And yeah, I think so. I mean, if you have the DCC one, you could probably keep it. But this one, in my opinion, are much better. Well, not
Yeah.
much better, but they are better. And that was an opinion that I had even for the 71 mixes that were presented on the previous box sets. So I was just gonna mention that.
That's good to
Um,
know. Yeah.
yeah, some of those are pretty interesting. Like I'm looking at the box set here, by the way, because I'm still I still not 100% familiar with the track list on it. But I thought that the 79 mix of Inside was an interesting one.
You
I don't
meant,
know if
oops, sorry. I just
what
pulled us
happened
up
there.
there. I just pulled our stream up. You meant the 69 mix of Inside?
Yeah, did something happen? We went
Y-
off
y-
air.
No, no, no. We're not off air. What happened was I had our stream up on another browser and I popped it up and we came on. And
Okay.
I just turned it off. So, but anyway, you were talking about, and I did want to clarify for the folks at home that when you're talking about the 71 remixes of these tracks, you're talking about the Living in the Past album mixes.
Oh yeah, because one thing that many people, well, not many people, but people may not know about are the original singles were mono mixes for the most
Right.
part, or there were crude stereo mixes.
Yeah.
So when they assembled the new, when they assembled the Living in the Past album, they went back to the original multi tracks and just remixed anything. And
Yeah.
in one case, for the title track, they even put some overdubs on it because John even recorded an organ part, and they wiped one of the flute parts of that song. So any
Yeah,
new
that's
mix
living in
of
the
that,
past, right? You're talking about
yeah,
living in the past? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the title track, yeah. Any new mix of that song will include the organ from now on. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if they go back to the multi tracks. Uh, but anyway, getting back to the Inside 69 stereo mix, this one was done before the Benefit album because they were probably considering it, Inside to be a single. And it's interesting because the structure of the song is pretty different than what we used to.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
There's, there's this crossfade at the end where it jumps back to a previous section, which is interesting because on the Benefit book set, but even on this one, Ian Anderson likens the Inside song to an Elvis Presley song, which I can't remember the title of. But anyway, this kind of thing here, the false ending with the crossfades happens on the Elvis Presley version of Suspicious Minds. So I was thinking
Right.
maybe that was
A parody.
the yeah, no, but the intention. I mean, maybe. So yeah, that one was interesting. I'm The 60 stereo mix of Lick Your Fingers Clean was also pretty interesting because it's single tracked. The vocals, I mean, are single tracked when on
Yeah,
any
and
other.
I do wanna talk more about that because that is when we get to the remixes. So
Yeah.
but go on. Yeah, I do wanna address that when we get to the new mixes.
hmm And then we have the 71 alternative stereo mixes for from later on Life is a Long Song, and Life is a Long Song is particularly interesting because we have no strings on this alternative mix, so it's very nice to hear.
Yeah,
My only quibble about this CD is that uh, I think Aeroplane and Sunshine Day should have been here. Definitely,
sure.
they're on. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
aren't.
yeah, 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 sure.
They definitely should have been somewhere in this collection. And
As extras or something.
sorry,
As extras, like,
extras. Yeah,
if not in the main slotted in the main track list as extras.
I think Ian's connection went down. All right. You're
No,
now
no,
here.
no, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I just forgot to talk about what is, in my opinion, the most important song on that disc, which is the mono demo of "Wandering Aloud Again." This is
Yes, that's
just Ian
fascinating.
Anderson. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. I wonder how much of that stuff is in the vault, and I wonder if we will ever get to hear anything like that again.
yeah. He's singing
That
in, like, a different register on a lot of
yeah.
it, which is fascinating. It's fascinating to hear him work it out.
hmm
I wanna say hi to Barry from Classic Album Review.
Hey
Says, "This
Barry.
is such a great set, especially the live concert." And I agree, the live concert is definitely, the
Yeah,
reason to have this.
yeah. We'll get to that later because I have quite a few words for it. Quite a few words about why we needed a new mix of the Carnegie Hall set, even though
Yeah.
we already had two of those.
Now, I have a question for you, Jaco, as somebody who's not using the Blu-ray. Are you disappointed that there isn't a full version of the original album sequence masters on disc one? Are
Nah,
you disappointed by the way that it's presented?
no. It's fine. I think I like this new configuration. I think it's the only reason. I mean, if you got to do a deluxe version of this set here, you need to do some kind of reconfiguration. Otherwise, there would be no point.
Yeah,
I'm just sad. The only reason I'm sad that I do not have a Blu-ray player is that I don't get to see the promo videos.
and they look fantastic, by the way.
Yeah,
They appear to be either new transfers or upscales or something. I think they might be new transfers
I,
by
I
the way
don't
they
think
look. They
I
look
don't think I've
fantastic.
ever. I don't think I've ever seen the US album version of Teacher, the promo film from that. I don't remember ever seeing that.
I've never seen
So
that. No.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get my hands on a Blu-ray player. It's
For
been
this
long.
and cheaper than cheap. Yeah,
Yeah,
you need a Blu-ray
yeah.
player.
Damn
So
it.
let's
Yeah,
we do have a
yeah.
few
We're Zappa fans, by the way.
that's right. Z's asking how many of the new mixes are AI mixes from the Still Living in the Past box set. And I think that this, leads in nicely to our discussion of discs 2 and 3, which are the expanded versions of the, remix versions of the original album. Yeah, that's a good question, because what's a little bit misleading or frustrating is that I feel like that in terms of the packaging and the description of the contents and the explanation of the contents, this set falls a little bit short of previous editions, and I have my reasons for why that might be, but I won't necessarily go into that. But um, it isn't clearly stated on the box which mixes are AI up mixes. It only says one for John G is.
Hmm.
But if,
Which is
just
the
by
most,
using my ears, what's
yeah.
that?
I mean, that's the most obvious one because
Yeah.
it was recorded to mono.
But
So,
let me just do a count here. So
mhm.
in my opinion, not only one for John G, that's one, one for one G, one for John G. But also The Witch's Promise is an up mix, because when I'm listening to this in 5.1, the flutes are blaring in my back speakers, and that wouldn't be the case otherwise. Like they're very discreet.
Of course, Ian here is talking about the Blu-ray because on the
Yeah, I'm
CD
talking
you
about the
get,
Blu-ray.
yeah, on the CD you get the 71 mix.
Oh,
That's it.
okay. See, that's interesting. So they're slotting in the 71 mix on the CDs, but
Yes.
in the 5.1 mix, we're getting AI. Oh, I see. Okay. So
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. All right. So,
Yeah. Even
um,
there are some tracks from 71 that they lost the multi tracks for. So
yeah,
that would be side two of the Life Is a Long Song EP. And do you think
right.
those have been upscale? Sorry, have been upmixed as well?
Definitely. So that's 5, 2 plus Bogan Broom, Dr. Bogan Broom from later, and Nursey. I think that's 5 total up mixes, unless I'm skipping one. But if I understand correctly, the only one that's an AI new mix on the CD presentation is one for John G.
Yes. Yes.
Now
Yeah.
I do. Sorry.
The one thing that I want to mention was that as far as stereo goes, one from John G is the only song that was feasible to be mixed, by AI. I mean, separated by AI,
Because it's
because
mono. It's presented
well,
mono.
not just that. It's because the instrumentation of it is sparse compared to the other songs. I
Hmm.
mean, one from John G is drums, bass, guitar, and flute.
Right.
Was something like The Witch's Promises as full band and orchestration. That would make it much more difficult to present as a different
Much more
mix.
difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
much more difficult. And they do it. They did it on the 5.1 mix. And my opinion is that one for John G sounds fantastic. I think the Witch's Promise up mix sounds fantastic.
Hmm.
The Life's a Long Song stuff, you can kind of tell. It's and I think it's because songs like From Later, which are heading more toward Thick as a Brick sophistication, it's just a lot more stuff for the machine to
Mhm.
try to sort out. Now, I do want to take a moment and kind of explain another theory I have, but I also want to talk a little bit about the technical details here, because I've had many questions about this. And I guess I didn't explain it thoroughly enough on my initial video, which is fine. That's why we're doing this. But essentially, what's being done here, in my opinion, based on my experience, is that the master mixes from the early 70s, whatever they were, are being placed into a software that uses machine learning to zero in on those different frequencies and separate them out into tracks. And then Steven Wilson is taking those tracks and using them to create a new 5.1 mix, or in the case of one for John G, also a new stereo mix. And it's a bit of a misnomer to call them AI up mixes. It's
Hmm.
more of an AI mix that has been, remixed by a human. So it's not like
Yeah.
scary generative AI that people are really afraid of, and maybe justifiably so. This is, in my opinion, good use of the technology and proper use of the technology. And you got to think, like, it was only like 6 months ago that Steven Wilson was saying that the tech was not there yet for this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's
And
moving at frightening.
frightening speeds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
when I've done this kind of work, there's always been some artifacting that goes along with it, and I just do not hear that here. And that's what amazes me, is that it's very clean
That's
sounding.
interesting because I think you're. I mean, I'm probably talking with bias here because
Sure.
the first time I heard one for John G, the stereo mix, I thought, well, this one is nice, but I can hear that there's something off about it. And now that I listen to it again and again and again, I still hear something off about it, but
Interesting.
I can't quite understand what it is. So I think it's just my brain saying, okay, this is an AI. This has been separated by the AI, so there must be something off about it. But there
Yeah,
probably isn't. Yeah, because it's a. I mean, I'm not too crazy about what he did here with the placement. There's you know extreme panning things. I'm not a
yeah.
fan of it, but it's not a bad mix at all. It's a very good mix, actually, technically.
No, no, and I find that not only is it a good mix, but it also slots in to the program in a way that I don't find jarring. Like I think it flows smoothly and sounds like it should have been there, always. But
Hmm.
the other thing I wanted to mention on the topic of AI mixes is that, and let me preface this by saying that I have no proof of this,
Hmm.
but I believe that AI demixing technology was also utilized on songs like A Song for Jeffrey, potentially Love Story, and what are the other 2025 mixes?
It could
Um,
be. You mean the track?
and
No, I think you mean the tracks that were recorded for track, basically.
yes, I think that there's a little bit of, see,
Okay, so not Love Story because that one was recorded to
probably,
eight
yeah,
track.
maybe not Love Story, but definitely A Song for Jeffrey, because when the way that they put that song down is they would have recorded Clive Bunker's drums mono, I'm guessing, and they would have stuck Glenn Cornick's bass on that same track. So your bass and your drums on the original mix are together. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's possible that some AI demixing was used to remove those, because
Could
when
be.
I hear that first thump of the bass and drums on A Song for Jeffrey on this, it's like, whoa, massive sound. And it does not sound like that on the quadraphonic mix or 4.1 mix
Well,
of This Was at all.
if this is now a 5.1 mix, I think it's probably a giveaway that something has been done there, and
Exactly.
yeah, and it's probably one of the reasons why that particular songs was mixed again in 2025.
Right.
So yeah, I would probably agree with you.
And well, I know that Wilson did release a statement that the record company was like, hey, well, let's try to get these mixes closer to the 1971 mixes that were on Living in the Past.
Hmm.
And I do hear that. Like, for instance, one of the highlights of this new set for me is the new mix of Locomotive Breath, because that thing smokes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't really paid much attention to that one. I pay more attention to the unplugged mix
Oh, and it's
because of,
interesting. But
yeah.
I wanted to take a moment. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but one of the choices that's really interesting on that mix versus the Aqualung mix is that Steven has put Clive's lower toms in the back channels. It's heavy as heck, man. Like you're just hearing toms, raging at the back of your neck.
Hmm.
And also another thing that's interesting is that I think Jeffrey Hammond's bass playing has been lifted in the mix, because it's much closer to what I remember hearing on FM radio.
Wow.
Whereas I think the bass is pulled back a little bit too far, maybe in the Aqualung version, the Steven
Mhm.
Wilson Aqualung version. So I'm a big fan of this mix of Locomotive Breath. And as a neat little treat, the flute solo, Ian Anderson actually dances around the room. So
Wow.
the flute solo starts from like the center, and then it moves to the left, and it's the right, and it's in the back, then it's behind your head, and then it comes up front again. and it's just like it's magic. Like I love it.
And I really need a surround system. I don't know where to put this apartment here, but I really need one.
Throw out a couch. You don't need your TV. Like whatever, man.
I need my TV to play these things in the first place. So, yeah.
So while we were gabbing, there was a couple of comments here.
Yeah, someone okay.
1971 remixes are definitely better tape sources compared to MoFi. Notice on previous sets, probably use mixed reels where MoFi used an LP comp master. That's interesting. I didn't compare them directly, but I will say this: the original like MoFi version of this is a gold standard audiophile disc for me. It has been for years, but I did listen to the flat transfers on the Blu-ray, and they sound absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Say hello to Brockway's Vinyl Bites.
Hey, Cody, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
All right. Then Salim, I think we answered his question about the AL element here. Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking scrolling through the comments because we got a lot when we were gabbing.
Yeah, it says Zeeb says that if you only could keep one JETHRO TULL box set, which one would be? Oh,
and then I think
he means everyone.
Yeah, he everyone.
I refuse to answer to this question.
It's unfair.
Yeah, I'm not gonna answer. They're all my precious.
There's logic to this one, as being, let's just say, okay, let's change this question a little bit to be a little less combative.
Uh-huh.
If you were going to recommend one JETHRO TULL box set to somebody who is a fan, but maybe isn't a mega fan, which one would it be?
I don't know. It depends on which albums he likes. Because it's not like JETHRO TULL have, every JETHRO TULL album sounds the same. Quite the contrary.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe this one could be a good one. I mean, if you're gonna have only one, this one covers the first period nicely, so you could probably get that.
And it's a good jumping off point.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, they release so much stuff that I can't really bring myself to think that this one is the definitive one or the best one of them. So if I can only keep one, would probably be Heavy Horses because my name is on it. But that's the only reason. That really is the only reason.
Well, I'm fond of this one, and I'm fond of Bursting Out, but those are also the most recent ones. So,
I love.
we won't talk about the Christmas album, but those two are the most recent ones.
Which wasn't a bad.
Maybe my favorite at the moment.
It wasn't a bad package, by the way. The Christmas album. No. It's just that it's my least favorite album ever released by
Correct.
JETHRO.
Yeah, that's the correct opinion. Yeah.
And something that the one I wanted to mention, but you gotta really like that era was the Broadsword box set. Yeah, that one was
that's a gem.
And we waited too long for it, and it was really frustrating. And once it got out, it was everything we wanted and more.
Mm-hmm. And more. Yeah, it was more than everything we wanted. Yeah, that second disc, and we are getting off topic again, but that second disc, the Sessions disc, the 81 Sessions disc, that's my Tull comfort disc, man. And to some extent, the live performance on that has become a comfort.
I absolutely love the studio demo disc, where they're just playing live in the studio. That one was top Tull for me. I love it.
And in many ways, like, I appreciate the extras on that box set more than the album itself. And I love the album.
But I disagree here because I think they picked the best stuff for the album, but it's everything combined. I mean, man, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm getting chills thinking about that box set. So
and it's hot out, man. It's hot.
Yeah.
And Jaco's getting chills thinking about this, so that should tell you something.
All right.
Okay.
Johnny says that
Passion Play.
Okay, it was yes, just when we were talking about the artifacts. I mean, I haven't heard much. I mean, I will admit that I have some sort of I don't know if that's a correct word, but antagonism versus the AI mixes. But
absolutely.
If nothing else is available, then they're fine. I mean, one for John G was recorded directly to mono. So why not attempting the
Yeah.
stereo mix using that? But I got the impression, people now want AI mixes for stuff that we have the multi tracks for, and I see no point for that.
No, let's not do
A-
that.
And I wasn't even excited when Derek Schulman announces that they're probably going to work on an AI mix of in a glass house. I mean, I
Yeah.
see no point for it. The original stereo mix is good as it is,
I
and
do from the surround sound perspective. As a stereo mix,
all
it's
right.
unnecessary. But from the
Mhm.
surround sound perspective, I think it's worthwhile. But
And
yeah, anyway, go on. Sorry.
no, the main reason I buy this box sets is the extra stuff, and of course, if AI, if the mixing gets in the picture and you don't transfer the multi tracks anymore, you won't get anything else out of those sessions, which is
Yeah, I think that AI should be used only when necessary. And again, like I have the same problem. I'm confrontational toward the new tech. I don't
Mhm.
want it to be good. I want it to suck. But when I sit down and listen to it, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of possibilities here. Suddenly, yeah, I'm excited for In a Glass House. I'm excited for Hawkwind, the Hall of the Mountain Grill, which is coming out.
Mhm.
Because it's like, well, this is the proper use of this technology.
Yeah,
Bring something to life like this.
I think you're right, because I use AI for when I write. I don't use it to write it in my place, but I use it to correct this,
Yeah,
or is this written as a
it's a
tool.
proofreader. It's a
Yeah, as a
proofreader.
tool, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I don't want it to work in my place though, and
No.
people are using AI to write songs, to do mixes, and this is where it gets really uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, this is
And
where we get into the weeds.
and by the way, I know someone who isn't here on the chat today, who keeps sending me songs that he says, "Hey, they found a Genesis song, they found an unreleased Genesis song, they found an unreleased Gentle Giant song, and they're always AI generated." And he knows that because he's the one generating them, and I
Yeah.
can always tell because they suck.
Well,
They
Ian
they
Anderson,
sound terrible.
I just saw an interview with him where he's pursuing legal options to prevent Jethro Tull AI generated songs. So
I'm with him. I'm
I'm with him
100% with
too.
him.
No, I
Yeah.
think he's right. I think he's right. Okay, let's take a few more comments. Johnny B says Passion Play Deluxe is probably my favorite, but that album makes people cry. Only out of joy. That album makes me cry tears of joy.
You're wrong about the Passion Play, by the way.
Johnny B says most people seem to forget about the surround mixes. It's a big reason for a lot of choices, even remixing the albums in the first place, let alone the AI stuff. And he's absolutely correct. For me, it was always something that I had a deep fascination with. And then I finally got like a really good system. And I was rehearing even my stereo mixes differently. And I'm not saying like I make fake AI or make fake 5.1 mixes out of stereo mixes or anything like that. I played stereo mixes just as stereo mixes on my 5.1 system or Atmos system in this case. But the point that I'm making here is that opened my eyes to the possibility of 5.1 mixes, and I wanted to hear everything again. So yeah, and a lot of people, it frustrate me when it's like they don't get into it, so they think nobody should have it. Nobody's allowed
Yeah,
to have surround mixes because I don't like it, and that's not cool, man. Like don't be that guy.
yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, the reason it's not like I forget about surround mixes, is that I do not have a system to play them.
Yeah, and it's fine not to
So
be interested in them.
yeah.
I'm not
No, I'm
disparaging
very
anybody who
interested.
feels that way.
I'm very interested in surround mixes, by the way, and I look forward to the day I can set up a surround mix, because I will have all the Jethro Tull discography
Yeah,
to
man, you're
the,
gonna
the,
have to
the
take a
best
month
album.
off.
Yeah, and I actually last year or so went to an exhibition for. They were talking about the Meteor Stratos, which was the lead singer for Aria, the
Right.
Italian prog rock band, and he had an interesting use of the voice, and they set up this room with like 20 speakers, and every speaker, the voice was moving to them. It was absolutely fascinating,
Yeah.
and I really need something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like pure escapism to me. It's
Mhm.
like you are just immersing yourself in the world of this album.
Mhm.
Much in the way that cinema works when you have cinema in Dolby Atmos or 5.1. But I want to just handle a few more things. Zeb says, I foresee a new Wilson mix of Nothing Is Easy live at Isle of Wight, 1970. I'd love
I
for that
adopt,
to happen. I don't think it's likely,
I
but I'd
adopt
love
it.
for that to happen.
I adopt it. I think this is the final word on that particular year of Jethro Tull, because they
You're
would have
probably
included it
correct.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, it would have to be coupled with an album. And what album? I mean, are they going to reissue Benefit again? But no, I would love that because that's probably the best performance
that's
of
absolutely the
that era.
best performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be fine, but I think the Carnegie Hall show. I mean, should we talk about that one now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just let's
since we have a
see.
lead.
Cody says, I feel you, Ian. A good set of speakers can totally change how you hear even regular 2-channel recordings. My vinyl copy of Radiohead's OK Computer sounds like a surround sound album. Yeah. Like I was going back and hearing the Genesis stuff again. That was like one of the first things I wanted to re-listen to because I had grown up listening to everything on headphones. And it was the first time in my life, like I had really good set of speakers to hear my music on. So yeah, getting a new system was like getting a new set of ears. And that's what led to me creating this YouTube channel, actually. But yeah, do we want to, before we move on to the Carnegie Hall stuff, do you want to talk about anything else in the remixes that we haven't covered?
Well, we talked about the 2025 mixes, and I don't know about that. Yeah, you wanted to talk about "Lick Your Fingers Clean" earlier. Remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, before you talk about that, Zeeb says that Isle of Wight should have been on the stand-up box set, but of course not. I'm sorry. That's a
Yeah.
different era of the band.
It's a
Yeah,
nice
it was.
thought.
Benefit was already released when they played the Isle of Wight, so it wouldn't have fit at all
And we
on the
got
stand.
Tanglewood on the benefit set, which had never been released before. So that was great. And then we
Mhm.
got that great Chicago set, which might actually
Mhm.
be better. I love
Yeah,
Chicago 70. Great
yeah. That,
performance.
that that show was bootlegged because it was broadcast by the radio, and one of my projects was to take because it was strange because every broadcast, some broadcasts had a particular set of songs, and then another broadcast had another. So there was never a complete version of it. And one of my
Yeah.
projects was to edit one together. And before I started working on it, they released the version on the box set, which comes from the master reels, and it's much better than anything that I could have
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But so let's
All right,
talk about
liquor.
Lick Your Fingers Clean
Yeah.
briefly. That was the tall single that never was. It was supposed to come out and it was withdrawn like almost at the last minute, if I understand correctly.
Hmm.
And what's interesting is I went back and listened to the 20th box set version, which I do think I still like a little bit better. Or I shouldn't say the 20th box set version, but the mix from the Aqualung set, which is closer, I think, in spirit to the 20th box set version.
Yes.
And what it sounds like to me is that Ian did multiple takes of the vocals and they just mixed them all on that mix. Whereas
Oh,
if
could
you
be.
listen to the new version, it's just a single vocal take from Ian, and it's very, very different from what I'm used to him singing. And he even mentions in the box set that it was like a Mick Jagger thing, which I think is really interesting. He was doing like a Rolling Stones thing with that. So what are your thoughts on the new Lick Your Fingers?
Well, it really caught me by surprise the first time I heard it, and
Yeah,
I really
sure.
enjoyed it. I think you're right about that, and something like that happened with Beefheart as well. When they, for anyone who isn't familiar with the Beefheart story, he and the Magic Band were recording an album in 1968. Which then became the songs became strictly personal, but the original sessions came out later, and there were songs where Beefheart had recorded different takes, and originally the master take was to be chosen between those, and they just left them all open on the new mixes, and they sound terrible. But I think they work on "Lick Your Fingers Clean" because it became a
Yeah,
kind of a bar song, a bit like Ween's "Blarney Stone" in a way. So
it's all doing punk, you know.
kind of, yeah, maybe.
And
I
there's
love that.
also this quality. I remember you reviewed an early album of mine, and you said this is like the ending of Shrek, where
Oh God,
everybody's all singing and dancing. And I'm
I'm
sorry, I didn't mean
cringing.
to embarrass you,
I'm
but
cringing with that review, man. What?
but that's almost like what this reminds me of is it's like a big tall
Track.
celebration of sorts. But
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
snotty. It's very snotty, and I like it.
yeah, it's a great song. It's too bad it didn't came out as a single. And I think
Yeah,
what's interesting, and I think my friend here had a false memory because I don't think he was outright lying. He probably, you know, he's 70 by now, so he probably misremembers something. But he was convinced that "Lick Your Fingers Clean" was released in 1970 because he was convinced that he had already heard the song before War Child and he had heard it on the radio, but I really doubt that happened because
yeah.
I don't think promo copies of that single were even stamped.
No, they withdrew it. That's at least
Yeah,
that's what the box says. They withdrew it, and they didn't give. I don't know if I ever read why they withdrew it, but it's a shame that they did because I think it would have made a nice single. And also, "Up to Me" is the B side. "Up to Me" is one of my favorite songs on Aqualung,
very
so I kind
underrated.
of
Yeah,
like having that into the program here. So
very
uh,
deep cut. Yeah, I like
yeah,
it.
I like "Up to Me" a lot.
One
It's
of the
another
reasons,
song about Jeffrey too. So
one of the reasons that I enjoyed the otherwise not really enjoyable Aqualung live album from 2005 was that since they played the whole album from start to finish, we get to hear stuff like "Up to Me," which wasn't otherwise part of the live set, and "Hymn 43," which is also here on this collection. Um, yeah, yeah, "Up
now,
to Me" is a great song.
do you think that the 2011 through 2016 mixes, do you think those sound better on the CDs, or do they sound the same as the old box set versions?
I haven't compared them. They sound fine here, but I think this set, unlike the others, was mastered. So
Yes,
there probably
there is
are
a mastering
differences.
credit. Yeah.
Yeah, there probably are differences, but I haven't picked them up. They do sound fine here. So
Yeah. I assumed that the mastering was on disc 1 only, but because I thought Steven Wilson had that in his contract, like no mastering, but it doesn't say, like it's not very clearly indicated. But in my opinion, and this is something that I haven't seen shared anywhere else. So again, maybe this is my tinfoil hat again. But in my opinion, Wilson tweaked the old mixes, at least for the 5.1 mix. And there's some precedence for this because he also tweaked the old mixes of "Close to the Edge," the Yes album, and "Fragile" for their new sets. So I think it's very likely it could even be a simple thing of like he opened up the old sessions and he's got new updated 2025 plugins, ran them through the new updated plugins, and we get
mhm.
just a little bit better sound. But I think that even the older mixes sound a little bit better than they did on the old box sets.
Well, I'm checking the book here, and they say that on disc three, Doctor Bogenbrum from Blader and Nursey were remastered by Steven Wilson.
Yeah, from the original 1971 mixes, and I don't know
Yeah,
what that means. This has not been clearly stated, and I think that again, like that's my criticism against this box is that the liner notes themselves could tell us more about the content that we're hearing, and I think
yeah,
that what's missing, crucially, are any notes from Steven Wilson himself, and that's a real shame.
yeah, yeah. But I think that I mean, we had been living under the impression that Steven Wilson would have stopped with Stormwatch, and
Yeah.
then he
Oh,
did
yeah.
a
Yeah.
and then he did A and Broadsword, and then we thought, okay, this is it, and then he did Bursting Out and this one. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a miracle that we're still getting.
I know. Like, I mean, this is a very small thing in the grand scheme of things to complain about. I'm just saying that, like, I do wish that there had been more
Me too, me too.
explanation.
Hey,
Um,
let's say hello to Folk Freak from the Steve Hoffman forums here from Germany. Hey man,
Greetings,
yeah,
friend.
yeah. The reason is I had between work and the fact that this one I received this one incredibly late. I haven't posted anything yet on the Hoffman forums, but I think I will post something this week, hopefully.
Great. I do want to say, Zeb says, "Lick Your Fingers Clean" morphed into two fingers. Yes,
Yes.
it was a rewrite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and another one that was a little bit obscure because we didn't get to hear the original version was Saturation, which was
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Pancake Doomsday
And
from the
that's from the
Aqualand section.
Aqualung. Yeah, Aqualung sessions. Yep.
Yeah, I really wish that they would do a scrap in the barrel box set with all those leftover tracks, but that's probably asking too much
Yeah.
out of them.
Do that, the leftover tracks, and do a songs about Jeffrey suite, and that can be disc 1 or disc 2 or however it is. And then then on the DVD we'll have the Isle of Wight Festival, and that's your box set.
Why not?
Why not is right. All right,
Yeah.
so we are now going to talk about what is probably the most anticipated part of the set, and that's Steven Wilson's mix of Carnegie Hall 1970.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually, this is something I didn't do for my review, but I went back and listened to the stand-up deluxe edition version from
Mm.
2010. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I just played the first couple of tracks to kind of refamiliarize myself with it. And what I noticed is that old Peter Mew mix, the stereo mix is pretty bad.
Yeah.
The 5.1 mix is nominally better. And particularly the loudness. It's the 5.1 mix is less loud, and it is listenable. Like it's fine. But what the
Yeah, but
difference
you
here is that the Steven Wilson mix
okay.
puts you there. It really sounds like you were
You
there listening
didn't.
to it.
If you only listened to the first two tracks, you didn't get to the most problematic bits of the show, which would be Dharma for One,
Yeah.
where Peter Mew did an absolutely mess out of it. Like, because I think everybody knows by now that the version of Dharma for One from the Carnegie Hall set is overdubbed.
Yes, yes.
The
I
original
wanted to
version,
ask you about that.
yeah, they first of all they cut one verse, because if you listen to the other versions from 70, you notice that they have an extra verse on them, and the lyrics are different. And as far as I know, there never was a flute accompanying the song, this version of the song live. So Ian Anderson redid everything, and I think since the original tracks haven't been preserved here, I think they just wiped them. And Peter Mew did all kinds of horrible things with that songs on his
Unspeakable
mix.
things.
Yeah, because the middle part where everyone, jumps in and chants
Yeah,
"Dom,"
that's a studio overdub. You can tell.
yeah, and that's terrible because he time shifted them. Peter Mew time shifted them, so they're all out
Oh,
of tempo. And once they finish, once that section ends, you hear the leftovers of a previous version of it, so they kick back in again. And as you know, I have never heard the surround mix, but I do have the stems of it. And everything is in fake surround for the first part of the songs, until because they weren't covered. Because I mean, they have the audience mixes, and if you keep them open, you hear the original tracks instead of the overdubs
yeah,
version. So they just muted that, but not for the end of the song. So everything becomes a mess at the end of it, because you hear the original tracks mixed on the back of
yeah.
the strand system mixed with the overdubs. It's terrible.
Well, it's interesting when you listen to the version that's slotted into the album mix, at least in 5.1, because
Mhm.
there's more vocals,
Oh,
and
is
they're
that
all
different?
yeah. The
Oh,
album, the one that's in the album sequence has more vocals, and they're more prominence. They're more prominent in the back channels. And when you listen to the version that's slotted into the Carnegie Hall sequence, the vocals are up front and they're low in the mix.
that's
And
really interesting, because I
I
think the.
swear, and you
Oh,
can
sorry.
argue with me about this, but I swear I hear Jeffrey Hammond in there.
You mean the vocals?
Yeah. I
It could
swear that
be. It could
that's
be.
Jeffrey Hammond doing some of those vocals. So
It could be because I think the overdubs were done for the Living in the Past album, so that
yes,
would put them from in '72, and of course Jeffrey was there. Um, and then something that I wanted to say. Okay, all right. I haven't compared them, but you're not making me doubt this. But I was thinking that on disc three, by kind permission off and Dharma for One, the stereo mixes were the same as on the live set. But I'm now doubting this. I
they're
really need to
different.
compare on
They're a
the
little
stereo,
bit different.
even the
They're
stereo
different
one.
on the 5.1. I did not check the stereo, but they're different on
Yeah,
the 5.1. Yeah.
yeah. I need to check. I definitely need to check this.
Yep. Um,
Um,
Johnny
of course,
B. Sorry.
yeah. Before the 2010 mix, we already had the 1993 mix of this concert for the
Yeah,
25th.
which is god awful.
Yeah, that's even worse than the Peter Mew mix.
Yeah.
Before you get you okay, yeah,
All right.
that's a no,
That's
that
the
was the
comment you want
comment
to
I want.
respond to? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that this was mix of the Peter Mew mix of this wasn't that awful.
Yeah.
I thought that was fine. They he sorry, I was gonna cuss. He screwed the version of Christmas song, the beginning of it, but otherwise I think that
Unforgivable.
yeah. Otherwise I think that set sounds okay. The Wilson version is better, but the Peter Mew version wasn't offensive in any way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, Peter Mew is a big fan of compression, so that doesn't sit well with everyone.
He did a Robin Trower box set. He did a couple of Robin Trower box sets that aren't
Mm,
bad. That are
mm,
they're actually pretty good. So that's my one decent thing I have to say about Peter Mew is that he did. But those Trower sets that he did, I read that he and Trower worked on them together. So maybe that makes all the difference. Is maybe
yeah.
Anderson's a little more hands off, which doesn't really track because Anderson's definitely not hands off
Mm, mm,
generally.
mm,
But
mm, 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 mm.
um, I don't know what's going on there. But um, Johnny B says Wilson's mix of Carnegie Hall sounds fantastic, but I'm disappointed by the low level of Ian's vocal and Martin's guitar again. Why doesn't
Mm.
anyone want to pull him up? See, I thought this was an interesting comment because I noticed Martin's guitar was mixed lower here too, and it confused me because generally Wilson gives Martin more, and actually I thought Ian's vocals sound great, and I think it's a great vocal performance for him too, which is worth mentioning. But what I noticed is that when the live set starts off, Clive's drums are very much overpowering the mix, and they have kind of a sloshy sound to them. And I think it's the hall because Carnegie Hall is a very live room. It's great for classical music, but ask any Chicago or Jethro Tull fan how they feel about it for for
Mhm.
rock music, and it's not optimal. But what I noticed is that Martin's guitar, the levels get better as it goes on, and it made me wonder if those were just the natural dynamics because
Mhm.
you can almost hear Martin turn up a little bit at one point in Nothing Is Easy. So I think maybe he pulled his on stage amp up a little bit because the further you get along, the better the mix is.
That's interesting. And when you said that you were, kind of disappointed by the lack of information, of particular kinds of information, at least on the book, is that I would have liked to know more about how the Carnegie Hall recording happened, because Frank Zappa famously had a lot of problems recording there. I mean, the live release that came out of it from 1971 was recorded. Frank recorded it in mono. I mean,
Yeah,
he wasn't allowed to record that the way Jethro Tull recorded their set.
yeah.
So I would have liked to know more about this, but
He recorded it mono off the PA system,
yeah,
if I remember correctly. Yeah,
and it sounds fantastic, by the
sounds
way.
great. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great album. Yeah,
yeah,
but we'll
and
we'll
Frank,
we'll go off on a tangent if we start talking about Frank. But that is a great album. The
yeah,
Frank Carnegie Hall is good.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Johnny B made a comment. Another weird thing about Muse Mix, besides the Dharma overdubs train wreck, is Ian's vocal mic swelling way up in between lines like there was a gate or heavy compression on or
Hmm.
something. And yeah, and I wonder if there was some kind of manipulation like that done to Martin's guitar that made it louder on those early tracks. Who knows? There could be any kind of manipulation. But Z had a question that maybe you could answer. Does anyone know the 2001 this was? Is it the stereo or mono mix? Is it the same as the 2008 collector's edition? It's
Well,
definitely a stereo mix. I can tell you
it's a
that.
stereo mix, and this was had two stereo mixes back then.
Yeah.
The original UK version, and then the US version, which for the most part was pretty equal to the UK version, but with the channel switched,
Yeah.
and except for a couple of songs that were completely remixed, and that became the master version of the album,
I see.
and that's the 2001 version of it. That's a remaster of the 69 mix. And I
Yeah.
do think that the original master tapes for the 68 UK mix are probably lost, because the first time it was released on CD was in 2018 on the box
Yeah.
set, and it's a vinyl rip. It's a great one, but it's a vinyl rip. You can tell it's not tape sourced.
Yeah. And
So
I think the mono mix was included on the 2008 collector's
yeah,
edition, right? Yeah.
yeah, and the 69 stereo mix is nowhere to be found on the 2008 mix. and the 2008, sorry, collector edition. You get the mono mix on CD for the first time, and that's the same version which was on the Steven Wilson box set, same
Yeah.
transfers, same mastering, and you get the new Peter Mew mix, which was okay, but it's now obsolete. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
a purely collector's edition. You know,
So are you saying that it's time to sell your 2010 Carnegie Hall?
I don't
Or is
even
there
know
any
why.
reason to keep it?
I don't even know. I mean, you have to be a collector for that who wants everything.
Yeah.
But truth to be told, that addiction of stand-ups is pretty terrible. No new mixes.
Yeah.
Um, Not a great master of the album. I mean, I do not have the 2001 master of it because my version of stand-up, I got it in the
They're the
90s.
same. Yeah, they're the
Okay,
same.
so completely useless.
Yep.
I think the only attractive for it was when it was released. That it was the first time that the long version of 17 was put on CD,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
original
we didn't
version was
talk about
virtually.
that. There is an edit of 17 on this new version, which I don't mind at all.
I don't even. I don't listen to that song anyway.
It's
So
not a great song, yeah.
yeah.
But I
But
actually found myself halfway enjoying it, because it's now shorter.
it's okay. It's an okay song, but I mean, I can understand Ian Anderson's point of view on it. But
Yeah, I can too.
what I
Yeah.
wanted to say about the 2010 stand up was that Sweet Dream and 17 weren't even stand up era tracks.
No.
And
No, no,
then you
no.
get the Carnegie Hall show, which has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So that was just not a very good release. And when it came out, I was concerned about that because if they were just gonna do that to every single album, it was gonna be a money waster.
Yeah.
But
We got lucky.
thankfully,
Yeah, we got
yeah,
lucky.
thankfully we've been proved wrong
Yeah.
by the next year.
The
Yeah.
only thing that I can see worthwhile about keeping that edition is that there's a 45-minute interview with Ian Anderson.
All
How
right.
much of that material is covered in the box set? I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch it yet, but I'm going to try and watch that interview and then make a decision as to whether I want to keep it or not. But I do like hearing Ian Anderson talk about those old. But yeah, Z just says, and Ian's interview is not even that interesting. So I'll give it a watch and see what I think.
I don't know. I like to hear Ian Anderson talking. I'll
Yeah,
be honest with you. Even now, even though he says tons of things, I'm not gonna get there, but tons of things, not just musical, even
yeah,
political, that I do not really agree with. But listening to him talking is always fascinating because
yeah,
he's very smart, he is very bright, he's very eloquent. So I also got to probably thank him for. I mean, if you do not like the way I speak English, you got to thank Ian Anderson for it because must I learned much of that from
yeah.
listening to his
I,
interviews.
I wonder if my love of Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull has influenced the way that I speak too.
Hmm.
Because for a long time, and maybe this is still true, but a long time, people who only knew me from my internet presence have thought that I was British.
I don't know about that. I mean, because
Oh, I don't know.
there isn't a single American accent. There are several of them, so I don't know.
Yeah. And do you enjoy hearing Ian Anderson do American accents in the Carnegie Hall set?
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's the
Absolutely kills me.
this was a great era to hear Ian Anderson because it was funny.
Yeah,
One
yeah, and different. Every introduction is different. It's chaotic, and I mentioned that he reminds me of Roy Harper. Roy Harper's song introductions were like that. Were just like scattered, and
yeah,
there's a great charm to that. But so yeah,
one of
let's get in depth. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I just wanted to say that one of the things that one of the things that I miss the most from new JETHRO stuff is that they do not have the sense of humor anymore. It's all
Mhm.
really serious, and I mean, I can
Yeah,
understand Ian Anderson. Approaching an older age, it's just probably has less time for goofing around. But I really love his sense of humor, and I wish he
yeah.
brought more of that.
Do you think that that has more to do with the trend for modern prog itself? To be
Uh,
more serious? Do you think
I
he's
don't.
trying to fit in with that?
I
Because
don't think
I
he
just
cares.
find that a lot of modern prog is like that.
I don't think he cares. I
I hope
think
not.
because on the last album he tackled some subjects that were dear to him,
Yeah,
including the final song, the one about death, which was quite moving.
yeah,
So I think it's just him approaching older age, and he's a little bit funny on stage because
sure.
he'd have some, mostly when he makes the off the mark comment. That one is probably is most often funny, but I really miss his sense of humor. I think the last time he was funny on an album was with Thick as a Brick too,
Yeah,
and I saw that tour. And by the way, he was absolutely hilarious. It was that was the last glimpse of the older Ian Anderson for
yeah.
me.
I saw him the year after that, and I don't really remember that well, but oops. Z, what I've always wanted to hear by is Jethro Tull 20th anniversary interview 1993 2 CD. Has anyone heard it? Yes. Yes, I've heard it.
I didn't.
Have you heard? You've never heard it? I've heard it. It's the early years. It's him and Martin. Him and Martin are doing an interview for some radio station, and it's a promotional exercise. And what happens is the early albums they talk about a lot, and as they get closer and closer to like Catfish Rising, which was the contemporary album, it's like
Oh,
a couple of sentences and they move on. So
uh-huh.
it's interesting for the early years.
I may have
But
some of that somewhere, but not the
yeah,
whole thing.
I
Yeah.
I have the whole thing, and it's all right. You know, it's fine. You're not missing out on any kind of great thing, in my opinion, but it's fine.
Hmm.
But
It's probably like hearing a podcast, probably. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like a podcast, but the interview subjects are losing interest in the topic. You know, and it's like they want to go get some Indian food or something, or go eat some catfish.
Yeah, because you got to remember that most of those interviews were done, between the sound check and the show themselves. So
Yeah,
the band was probably tired, didn't really want to talk at length, but they did that anyway.
yeah.
So that's probably why a lot of those interviews sound like they do not want to call, because they do not want to talk on that precise moment.
Yeah. What's more interesting, I think, is some of the interviews that are on like the Thick as a Brick set, the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary of that, like the one with
Mhm.
Ian Martin and Jeffrey. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, I digress. Was there anything else? Because we've barely even scratched the surface here of some of this material. Like my issue with the Carnegie Hall set is that the improvs go on for years,
yeah.
and that makes it really interesting to hear once in a while. And I
Hmm.
do like the fact that it's presented unedited. I like the fact that you can skip through the song introductions if you want to. But if you don't want to, if you just want to experience it like you're there, great. I like having it that way.
Hmm.
But for me, bursting out, or even some of the later 70s shows or like LA Forum 1980, those have more replay value to me
Hmm.
because there's more music per square inch. That being said, the middle part of this concert, oh my God.
Hmm.
And no pun intended. But when you go from a song for Jeffrey to Cry You a Song to Saucity You're a Woman, that stretch of material is
And
just astonishing.
the song part of Dharma for one, I always like that.
Yes. Yes. And I have nothing against Clive Bunker's solo either. I will say this, that having heard the full version and going back to the edit is much more palatable. It's just like, hey, this is a breeze, man. And I saw people complaining on the Hoffman forums like,
Wow.
there's no reason to have a 5-minute drum solo on a record. Well, maybe there was
Well,
in 1970, I don't know.
that was my comment to that. But aside from that, one thing, no, I think you're right in general. I mean, those were probably shows in order to fully enjoy the shows, you had to be there.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I was listening to this and the unedited version, now because it starts with a bang with Nothing Is Easy, which is a really involved performance. And then you
Hmm.
get My God, which starts like that. I mean, it gets really powerful. And then I remember thinking, once in the middle of the flute solo, I was thinking, God, they kill all the energy that the
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
creation.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The extended solo sections do. They pull back from the energy of the performance. And yeah, I think part of that is the fact that Jethro Tull's not really a improvisational band.
Mm-mm. Yep.
That was never their strength.
I
And
think they're
so,
also weirdly placed here because on the Thick as a Brick tour, Barrymore Barlow will get a drum solo at the start of side two, and Ian Anderson will get a flute solo in the middle of side one. And
which is appropriate.
yeah, very appropriate, and they sounded
Yeah.
great. My only well, something I wanted to say about the box set is that I love the way the book looks like. I love
Hmm.
how it was assembled, but I do have the vinyl version of it.
So do I. Yeah.
Yeah, and those this thing here, I this is very fragile, so it must come from Italy. Uh,
It's a special award.
but anyway, the way this looks like on vinyl,
Yeah, it's
you
beautiful.
can't really. I hope the new vinyl version mimics that.
Does your version have the booklet?
Yeah,
Cool.
and what's
Cool.
interesting here is that this is in an Italian pressing from '72, and the book version lists the U.S. Track list. So here, the songs that are listed here are "Alive and Well and Living In" and "Hymn 43." But on the label and on the vinyl itself, it plays the UK version.
Interesting.
I don't know why that happened, but and I also wanted to show this version here, which is not a great version of the album, which is the regular CD version here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a question I had, by the way.
the
So
reason, yeah, before you get to the question, the reason I wanted to show that to you is that Clive Banker signed this,
oh, that's
and he
awesome.
signed a photo with Barrymore Barlow on it.
I can't see his signature though. I see
It's
the
on the
baby.
it's on the baby. I don't know if you
Oh,
can.
okay.
Can you see
How do
that?
I how do I
Should
make
be
you
here.
big?
Should be here. Yeah, yeah. That's
Oh, I see
yeah,
it. Yep, yep. I see a
yeah,
scribble. Yep.
yeah. And you signed you cheekily signed a photo of with Barrymore Barlow, and of course this booklet here isn't as extensive as the one on
No.
the vinyl one. But yeah, that's an. I mean, I never sell my JETHRO TULL CDs, but that's the big reason I'm keeping this. Because otherwise,
So,
this
yeah,
version doesn't have some songs on it. It doesn't have Teacher. It doesn't have Bore, and it's pretty infuriating to me that it doesn't have Teacher. By the way, because it wasn't a
sure.
single in Europe.
Sure.
So for the longest time, I didn't have a CD version of that song.
Yeah, that's I guess we've kind of covered everything we want to talk about with Carnegie Hall. I mean, aside from if anybody has questions, but I wanted to mention that that's one consistent comment that I've gotten that kind of drives me up a wall
Hmm.
is when people say something like, "I'm so glad that my CD player has is programmable so that I can just program the track list that I'm used to hearing." And for me, that's a little bit frustrating because the version I grew up on was the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab version, and that has both UK and US track listing. So I'm used to hearing it all.
Hmm.
So the idea of having an even further expanded track list is not, I don't have a problem with that. And to me, that's
Oh
pure
god, he
nostalgia.
froze.
Did I freeze again?
Yeah, you did.
But am I
Now,
back?
yeah, now you are. Yeah,
Okay.
you
It
you
happens.
froze as you were saying. That was the last thing we heard.
So you missed all of that.
Now you said that you were saying that the thought of having an expanded edition was, and then you froze.
Oh, it's not, I'm fine with it. Like it doesn't distract from my enjoyment. It adds to it, is what I'm saying. Like,
Mm.
and a lot of these guys who want to be able to program the version that they're used to, I just feel like that comes out of nostalgia. And it's not under any greater understanding of the material, in my opinion. But anyway, let's grab a few more comments. Z says, "Is the book Jethro Tull every album, every song on track worth buying? What is the number one Jethro Tull book outside of the box sets?" I'm not familiar with that book, so I cannot recommend it, or not. Um,
I would say that the number one books about Jethro Tulls are the official one,
Minstrels in
which
the Gallery by
no,
David Reeves.
the that one too, and then Spin Me Back Down the Years by Pat Kent and
Right.
Charles Kinney and a lot of other wonderful people, and then of course the Ballad of Jethro Tull, which is the official book. But I would say that the best written stuff was is in the box set. Ah, we have a lot of comedians here on the comments tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Private Joker.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, what else?
But surely, surely,
Surely,
this
yeah.
is a sure. Surely, Still Living in the Past deserved a single disc or double 2025 mixes, as they usually have done single editions of the box set. And maybe that'll come. I don't know. They might do that.
Uh, well, not for. I mean, what does he mean here? It
He
means new
means that,
mixes.
like, no, he means that, see, Broadsword, when that came out, like maybe 6 months later, they did a single edition of it that
Oh
just
yeah,
had the
yeah,
album tracks with some
yeah.
bonuses on it.
I'm sure that will happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll probably happen. Just be patient.
Hmm.
Um, close all the
Yeah,
porn tabs,
yeah,
Jaco.
yeah, yeah. Funny stuff, man. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Celine.
I'm not laughing right now, but I will later. Yeah.
Artists put a lot of effort into sequencing their albums, even compilations. So I never reprogram if I'm playing on CD. Yeah, it's just the only time I would do that is if, like, the early XTC albums where they stuck
Oh
the
yeah,
non-album
terrible.
tracks in between. That's terrible. Like that is when you use the reprogramming software or
Yeah, and
setting.
that's even more upsetting because I've been told that they do sound quite good, as opposed to the
Yeah,
20.
and I have
What was
them.
it?
I
Yeah,
need to listen to them, but I have them. 20
yeah,
2001, I think, is when
yeah.
those came
2001.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really wish Steven Wilson would remix those first XTC albums because I like them a lot. The first two
I'm
albums.
sure he wants to. It's just a matter of, finding out whether the money would be there, the interest would be there. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, so yeah, here's a great example. Johnny says, I grew up with the early heavily edited US CD. So in
Mhm.
compiling this thing, whoever is in charge of compiling it has to say, who do we please? Do we please the people who grew up on the edited US CD? Do we please the people who grew up with the European track list? What do we do? How do we cater this? So the idea of just doing all of it, release all of it, let us fans figure it out. I
Yeah,
think that's a much better strategy.
I also grew up with the heavily edited version, but this is the UK track list. So that's the version of the album I listened to. But then when I heard stuff like Teacher, for example, which I didn't have on any CD because my version of Benefit is a pre-master, as a
Yeah.
pre-remaster, and it's the UK track list because we didn't get Teacher on Benefit in Europe. When I found out that those kind of stuff was missing, I was bummed out because
Yeah.
maybe just cut Inside, something like
Yeah.
that,
Sure.
and get Teacher instead of it.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I can understand having Locomotive Breath because that song is going to be a seller. But yeah, Inside. All right, that was a single, but that wasn't even remixed. So maybe make Teacher more easily available for us European consumers,
Yeah.
but that's not what they choose.
The point is that a lot more thought has been put into the way that this box set has been presented than some of those earlier versions that people are used to. And it's like, if people want the earlier versions, then just keep your earlier versions. Like,
Hmm.
there's no harm in that.
Yeah, people are acting as if they are forced to buy something.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's common. And this is a common thread. I mean, we've even talked about this earlier in the stream, but yeah, right.
I don't understand that, honestly.
I don't either. No.
Yeah,
Let
it's
people enjoy things.
and one thing that I wanted to mention is that I don't know if I think it is still living in the past. Is I think it's on streaming right now, right?
Yes, it is.
But if you listen to it without reading the book, you're missing out.
I
Because I
agree.
did, because when I listened to it before reading the book, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't really put me in the mood to play it again. And then once I read this thing here, I couldn't wait to give this another listen.
Same here.
So
Yeah.
you absolutely are missing out if you're not going physical here.
Yeah.
Sorry, another porn pun in here. If you're not going physical, you're missing out. Add that to the list of things that we'll laugh about later. Uh,
Yeah,
the
this is a
USD.
great point here. Well,
Yeah.
let me get to his first comment. The US CD was goofy because it had tracks removed, but also had tracks that weren't on the US LP version. And there
Mhm.
were two versions. A second version had more songs, but I had the first one. So I don't think there really is a standard version for people to legit complain about not having.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
I
I
could not
think
have said it better myself.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the inside was not on the original US double vinyl, but every version of the US CD have that track, and they also have 11 Well Living In. I think
Yeah.
that is it. Yeah, yeah, that album
See,
has a
now
lot of.
Jaco
Oh
is breaking me
shit!
up.
Yeah, that's me. Hello there. Hey, hey, I'm back.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah,
Hi, it's me. I'm back.
and the central scrutinizer. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't saying anything important, so
Yeah. Salim just says the detail in the books is incredible. Appreciate the effort Tall Ian Anderson put into it. Yeah, and I can't wait until the next one. These things are an event for me. It's like
yeah.
cancel
And
all my plans. Nothing else matters. I'm spending the weekend with this thing now.
by the way,
But
we should thank the people involved in this box set more than Ian Anderson, because I think Ian Anderson just agrees to be interviewed here.
yeah, and he
But
signs off on the mixes. I think he does sit there and actually listen to the mixes and sign
yeah,
off.
we got to thank Martin Webb and Hugh
Webby.
Gilmore. Webby, yeah, Hugh Gilmore, he says here, and John Norman, which is too tall on the Offman forums, Pierce Bedford, Charles Kinney, Andrew Jackson, and Tim Chaxfield, who was the man behind the series. So
Yeah.
we got to have a big shout out to him.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bring him back. You know, Pierce Bedford, that's the guy who directed the videos. So they interview.
All right.
I haven't read the interviews yet, but that particular interview yet. But he directed the videos, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I read it earlier. Since I can't watch the video right now, I didn't pay much attention to it, but it looked like a very interesting interview. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look at that myself. But Z says, quick question: Do we need a remix of Walk in Delight? Seems most people
Yes.
want it included in Under Wraps, the totally wrapped edition.
And the answer is yes.
From my perspective, I want the 5.1 mixes of that album. So yes, I want anything remixed. Yeah.
I love Walk Into Light much more than I like Under Wraps. It's a perfect electronic album, I think. Rock electronic album. I absolutely adore that album, and that's probably the only way to have a deluxe version of it. So yes, I need that.
And in many ways, like, it's a callback to the simplicity that we're talking about of some of these earlier tracks. Like, that's a lot of the songs are very much just based around the words, the music, a little bit of flute, and the sequencer soundscapes. So like songs like Toad in the Hole are just so beautiful.
Oh, that's my favorite. That and Endgame were my favorite.
Endgame. Yeah. Walk in Delight. User Friendly. That's another one. Different German, like Made in England. Like, there's so many great songs on that.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And some of those songs were played live on the Under Wraps tour.
Yeah, and they sound great with Doan Perry backing. They sound fantastic.
I think Fly by Night and Made in England.
Made in England, yep.
Yeah, and the middle section of Different Germany was played at the end of the shows. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I want that stuff. Oh, God, I want that stuff. I need it.
And I want the live show, yeah.
I'm not even a big fan of the Under Wraps album, but I absolutely want that.
You know what's weird is I woke up with European Legacy stuck in my head this morning, so...
Yeah. Love that. I now want to listen to the album. Yeah.
I'm gonna go play this. How you doing, Kiefer?
He's not talking to me because he said prog nerds. So
yeah, I'm sure he's beaming in from the back of a car somewhere. He asks, is Under Wraps the Jethro Tull equivalent of Graveyard Mountain Home? I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so I think
remember when you said that. Remember when you said that you were about to sneeze? Because I'm the one who's about to sneeze now.
Okay. Well, here, I'm going to mute your mic. Go ahead, sneeze. Okay, he's back. So I am in the back of a car.
So are we. Very elaborate car, but
Oh, that's
Graveyard
the front of the
Mountain.
car.
Yeah. Oh. Graveyard Mountain Home is the Kevin Moore electronic album. I don't know what. I haven't heard that.
No frame of reference here.
No.
For me, Under Wraps is it's kind of the last gasp of the Ian Anderson that's willing to try anything and see if it sticks. And it's kind of like the last really brave Jethro Tull album, and it doesn't always work. I don't find it their best album by any stretch of the imagination, and unfortunately, I don't think it's their worst either. I think Under Wraps sits somewhere in the middle of their catalog, but the live shows are fantastic. That's like one of the best live, except for his vocal problems. That's like one of the best live eras. And
some of
especially you being a jazz fusion fan, you should go listen to some of those live sets with Peter John Vitesse, because that's some high level musicality with Vitesse and Doan together in that same band.
I would say listen to the earlier shows, because Ian Anderson was still in fine vocals, and a lot of the songs got removed from the set list later on.
Yeah,
and you gotta hear Apogee live, because that's the song that benefits the most from a live performance, because it becomes a rock song. What else? There was a question here that I think we missed. No. Send me the links off here. Just type it. They're on YouTube, man. Just type Jethro Tull Hammersmith 1984, and they will show up.
Yeah, that's a great concert, and there's video of the New Jersey set list, the New Jersey show. That's worth a watch too.
Which is later on.
It's edited. His voice is weakened, but you can at least kind of appreciate what's going on there.
Yeah, and there is a fantastic show which is unfortunately is not really widely circulated. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but it was recorded and it was broadcast live on the air in Spain, in Barcelona. No, that wasn't Barcelona. That was Madrid, and was broadcast live by the radio station. And unfortunately, the DJs talk over some of it to prevent bootlegging. But the performance is absolutely incredible.
It's
that
fire.
one. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think Jethro Tull recorded that show, because that would have been the performance to pick. Oh well.
See, there is so much they can add to an Under Wraps box set. Bach rock. I never knew how to pronounce that word. Konark? How do you say it?
Koronach.
Remix with new drums, and yet
because they don't even sing that on the song, so I don't have a reference to that. But that one was from later on. I think that one
was
would
86.
probably be on that one would probably be on Crest of an A box set. I think.
Yep. But I the reason why I highlighted this comment from Z, and I know we're off topic completely from Still Living in the Past, but we're kind of looking to the future here. But the reason why I highlighted this is that yes, Under Wraps is it's not a great album, but it's a fascinating period of their history that deserves the box set treatment. And I think that it's worthwhile to look at it as more than the sum of its parts. And I think that's why I greatly anticipate an Under Wraps box set.
Yeah, I don't really anticipate the new drums though, because as I said,
mixed feelings on that. I have mixed feelings on that.
I think I said this before on this very podcast here. I think those songs were written with the electronic drums in mind, and just replacing them with with new drums will not change anything, because the old tracks will not magically interact with the new drums. So
yeah, and that's the concern, is that they laid down the tracks live to the drum machine in the studio, and so to pull that out and try to remake the drum performance, I don't think it's going to necessarily work. But prove me wrong. I'm willing to be proven wrong. The way that I think it should be done is to present it both ways. Give us, your reimagined version, and then give us a really great mix with the original drums. Because if there's one thing that the Broadsword and the Beast box set has proven, it's that those old electronic drums can sound good. Steven Wilson managed to make them sound good.
Yeah, but
On like I think Mayhem Maybe is one of the songs that I'm thinking of, but
no, you're
I could
thinking
be
of
wrong.
Watching Me, Watching You.
Watching Me. But there's other songs like in the extras that have electronic drums, and they sound great. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
let's see. Do we want to even give this any acknowledgement?
Do we have a ban button here? Okay.
Let's find the band
Yeah.
button. Okay.
Let's move on.
Uh,
Um.
People used
Yeah.
to hate A as much as the Under Wraps album some 15 years ago. Look now, many claim A is their last truly great album, but Under Wraps is still the black sheep. Let's wait a couple years. And you're right. I think every catalog release is going to get reappraised in the years to come, because when you think about it, in 1984, it really was not common to use electronic drums for that genre of music. It was common in other genres of music, but not necessarily that genre. And I think that now it's much more accepted, and people are able to look back on that era, and they also see that Jethro Tull changed. By Crest of a Knave, that album was more of a mixture of electronic and acoustic drums. And maybe you could argue that the electronic drums were better implemented in the Crest of a Knave album. But I just think that the benefit of hindsight, of history, these things are just bound to get reappraised.
Yeah, and I think the reason A got so much reappraisal is that now that so much time has passed, it's an album that I mean, production aside, musically, it's not. It's a little bit in line, I think, with what came before it. I mean, something like the Pine Martin's Jig could have been on a previous Jethro Tull album.
Well, there's
And then,
songs from the A era that were written for previous Jethro Tull albums.
yeah, Working John, Working Joe, Four Wheel Drive. I mean, not really a fleshed out song, but the idea was there.
Yeah.
And I think people are mistakenly believe for a lot of time that that was an electronic album. So, and there are barely any electronics on it. I think the only sequencer is at the beginning of Black Sunday.
Yeah.
Everything else is just a choice of synth sound and stuff like that. Helifantino has a question.
I want to. Do you want to field that real quick? I need to make a quick.
Yeah. Oh no! Do not leave again. Oh god!
Oh, just give me 2 minutes.
Oh god! This is the part of the stream that I hate the most. By the way,
I'm sorry. You and Servo got it.
All right. Okay. You get if you get the A box set, you get the complete show, but you do not get the complete video show because unfortunately, they anything that wasn't included on Slipstream was wiped. They trashed. They either trashed or reutilized the negatives. So video wise, that's all there is. But you get the complete show on the A tour. Actually, those were 2 consecutive shows at Los Angeles Forum Arena. So you get a mixture of both, and that's probably the best way to listen to that band live. And yeah, it was mixed by Steven Wilson, and it sounds fantastic. And that's probably what's going to happen on the Under Wraps box set, if they do one, and if they include the Hammersmith show. That's going to be a mixture of 2 separate nights. So yeah. So if anyone else here has something else to ask off topic, have you pre-ordered and plan to review the I think that's for Ian. Ziad, we're here to help you. Yeah, send some questions here if you got any, because I'm at loss. God, I'm at loss. I really hate when he goes away. I really hate that. It puts me in charge of the stream. I'm not even on the thumbnail of this live, so of this live stream. So I don't even know. Anyway, if you got a question of something that I can answer, so fire away. This is the moment here. What's the cost of tea in China? Google that. That's my answer. Wasn't the one Tull keyboardist in a fusion band? You're probably thinking of Eddie Jobson here. I think you're thinking about that guy because.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, here it is. Here he is.
This is the part of the show where Martin would have played Black Satin Dancer and Pibroch.
Yeah,
So thanks for
something
covering.
that yeah, you're welcome. But something that I mentioned while you were absent, and that I'm going to mention again now. I'm not even on the thumbnail. I mean, you leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It didn't work like the placement. I tried to place you in the thumbnail, but I don't know. Maybe we'll revise it.
Uh,
Did you answer any of these other like so you talked about how they can't get the complete video performance of LA
yeah,
format to
I
radio?
answered to that. I answered to
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
they unfortunately they will never see that because anything that wasn't included on Slipstream has been trashed or wiped.
Yeah.
So that's too bad.
Let's see. Salim, off topic. Have you pre-ordered and plan to review the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway box set? Yes. And I've also pre-ordered A Trick of the Tail and Abacab. Those are coming out as SACDs from Analog Productions, and they are going to ship in a week. So, going to be doing some Genesis content soon. And Johnny P says we're going on 2 hours with this, and we're not going to go much longer. I think 2 hours is probably as long as we're going to go. Let's see. And Kiefer, I just want to remind you that the flute is a heavy metal instrument.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he asked a question about a Tool keyboard player being in a fusion band, but he was John Glasscock, and he wasn't a fusion band. Carmen were in a fusion band.
Carmen, I'm trying to think, was there a tall musician who was in a fusion band?
I answered with Eddie Jobson because that was the closest thing, but
I would
I don't.
argue Peter John Vitesse was kind of a fusion player in his own
Yeah, but
way.
not in a fusion band. I think.
I don't think he was ever in a fusion band, but he definitely had the chops.
Yeah, but anyway, he was thinking about Carmen and John Glasscock, and yeah, they're absolutely not fusion.
Yeah,
They're
one
more.
guy. Yeah. Okay, fusion's
Mm.
fusion. Yeah, Carmen's like flamenco. They're like flamenco rock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. If
Yeah.
you could turn back the clock and assemble a Jethro Tull lineup that never played together, but you'd love to hear, what would it be? For example, Ian Anderson, Tony Iommi, Jobson, Glasscock, Doane Perry. Oh, geez, I don't know. So much of these lineups are connected to the era.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I could do that.
Well, I would have liked to hear. I don't know. I think the closest thing to this would be Don Perry on the Broadsword tour in place of
Yeah,
Conway. That's the only
or
thing I can think about.
Doane Perry on the Under Wraps album.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Don
what I
Perry on the
wish
Under
would
Wraps
happen.
album, yeah. But
Yeah,
that
but
lineup would have played. That lineup would have played live because that would have been the live tour lineup.
but Doane wasn't actually hired until after the production of the Under Wraps album, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, and even then he wasn't the official drummer because he didn't play throughout Crest of an Ape because some of it is Conway and some of it is the drum machine.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that I'd like to have seen Mark Craney continue with Tull because he
Oh
was very
yes.
young, he was very eager, perhaps over eager. If you listen to the LA Forum show, sometimes he's just a little bit too heavy on the double kick. But I would love to have seen a matured Mark Craney. That would have
Oh
been
yes. Yeah, it was a
probably the
fantastic
closest we
run.
get to that is Doane. Like Doane is probably the matured Mark Craney, but I would like to have heard what Mark would have done in a couple
Yeah,
years.
but it was more. It's interesting because in 1980, Mark Craney auditioned for Zappa as well,
Yes.
and Frank got David Logeman instead. And it would have been interesting to hear Mark Craney on the "You Are What You Is" sort of material. Would have been
Yeah.
interesting. But then, I mean, you having Mark Craney sandwiched between the two stints of the two Vinnie Colaiuta stints would have been not as interesting as hearing someone like David Lokeman because his approach was completely different than Craney and
Yeah.
Colaiuta.
That's the thing is like Mark Craney is more of like the traditional Frank Zappa drummer. Dave Logeman is a departure.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're all good, man. Have you heard the upcoming 1969 recording of pre-Black Sabbath Earth song with flute?
Not yet.
If it's upcoming, I haven't heard it.
No, it's out already.
It is out. Okay.
It's an upcoming Earth album, but
Oh,
we're not sure if it's a because I was reading things about written by the Black Sabbath experts, and they were mentioning that there's a possibility that some of that album might be fake or stuff that has already been released.
Oh,
But then again, I know that one recording has just been uploaded to YouTube, and that's supposedly legit. So I'm not sure.
that's interesting. You know, there are a couple of Black Sabbath with flute bands, like Person. Who's the other one? Blood Ceremony.
Mm.
So it's kind of interesting that that was already kind of had already happened and we never heard it before. So
There are a
I'd be
couple
curious to hear
of
that.
there are a couple of songs with the flute, right? Solitude is one, and then there's
Yeah,
another. There are some other which, but I can't really.
but they're not like hard rock Black Sabbathy type songs with flute. Like
Mm-mm.
they're more like non-traditional Black Sabbath songs. But
Oh, something that I wanted to say, since you're getting back to living in the past and Black Sabbath, is that I think one for John G sounds like Wicked Word. Actually, the other way around.
oh, interesting.
The melody is pretty similar.
That's interesting.
That part, that bit.
That's interesting. See, when I was listening to one for John G, I almost heard it as a beret precursor,
Hmm.
but it's a Mick Abrams song, which is also fascinating, and it does remind me of Bloodwind Pig a lot.
Mm.
But here's an interesting question. Hot take. It's not really a question; it's a statement. But hot take: the best live version of Aqualung is the slow one featured on Minstrel in the Gallery. They'd listened to a lot of Captain Beefheart by then, and they were listening to Captain Beefheart way back in 1968 because "Song for Jeffrey" is Beefheart. It's
They
full of
even toured with
Beefheartisms,
they
and,
even
and they
toured with
toured with him
Captain.
too.
Yeah,
But I don't agree on the slower Aqualung. I think the best version of Aqualung is the Bursting Out album.
I think the best version of Aqualung is the album version because of the guitar solo. That's
Sure,
iconic. Yeah.
sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
that's a,
disagree with that.
this said that's a nice version because you get the violin, the orchestra. On the slow part, you can almost picture Aqualung walking in the snow. So I do think a lot of that particular version is talking about.
And this is Terry Walker following up on his question about different members of the band in different eras. And yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. It was a cool question. I didn't expect it, but it was a cool question.
Hmm.
Um, Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull. Was he? I mean, he made an appearance, but
He
it was
was
mimed. Did he ever
he
gig
was.
with them?
I don't think he gigged with them, but he technically was in the band, so you could say that. I don't understand why is that laughing matter, but yeah, he was. He was in the. Yeah, he was in the band. Um, I think before we wrap up, we get on the wraps. Should we talk about anything else here?
Under wraps up.
We didn't talk about the unplugged mix of Locomotive Breath for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, yeah. That's really fascinating. And I didn't talk about that much on my video. So I'll just turn it over to you. What do you think of the unplugged mix?
I think it's interesting. I would have rather heard the previous takes that they mentioned on the box set
Right.
because they
That's what I thought it was going to be when I saw the name of it. So yeah, I agree with that take.
but it's interesting, and I don't even think that the majority of it is the album take because it sounds too different. But then the flute solo is the same, I think, and
It
then
is.
some of the vocals on the coda. So it's a pretty interesting listen. Too Tall, aka John Norman, was musing about that particular track on the Hoffman forums,
Yeah.
and so maybe my expectation were a little bit higher than they should have. So it wasn't revelatory or anything like that, but it was
Yeah.
enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt about it too. It's like, it's nice. So there's a bit of a disagreement here. Kiefer says he was in Tall for 2 gigs. I don't remember ever reading that.
No,
Um,
for 2 weeks, I think, not 2 gigs.
and Johnny B says 2 weeks. And
Correct.
then somebody says he never played a live show with Tall,
That
and that
that that's Folk Freak from the Steve Hoffman
Folk
forums,
Freak.
by the way.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think what happened was is he was in the band for 2 weeks, and that probably consisted of rehearsals and
Hmm.
that appearance on the Rock and Roll Circus, the Rolling Stones. But apparently, he learned how to run a band from Ian Anderson, and that's true. He learned discipline.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was something else. It was yeah. I don't think John Norman is watching us, but he's too tall from the Offman forums. But I have a plea to make him. So please hear my plea. Do not use AI overview to answer to toll related questions because it gets everything wrong every single time.
You
Please do not do that. You're one of
don't.
the
Sorry.
don't do, no. He's one of the biggest Jeff experts on particular areas, so you don't need that. You don't need that. You know he's spewing wrong. It's spewing wrong stuff. So do not use AI overview, please, please. That was my my little bit. What are you doing now? You're typing something.
Don't use AI overview. Use IA overview.
Yeah. Now, Kiefer, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking about to John Norman, who isn't here.
Yeah, he's not here. He should be. Maybe we should have him on sometime if he
Hmm.
would be up for that. But Zeb says these live streams are superb, Ian and Jaco. Don't make me wait 2 or 3 weeks until next time, please. We'll try, but he's got work. I've got work. There's not a lot of Jethro Tull box sets that come out every couple of weeks. And the problem is that uh, with these streams, like it's coming up with a topic that people actually want to watch. And like when we were doing the What Are We Listening To sessions, those were a lot of fun, but they were tanking my algorithm, man. Like they were hurting my channel. And I was like, I got to rethink this. Even though I'm enjoying it, I got to rethink this. So
Not
no, the
only
idea
that,
is for the live streams is we got to come up with topics that are actually going to engage the
yeah,
algorithm.
not only that, but I think I worked a lot less back then. I
Yeah.
work a lot in this period of time because I work in a bookstore, and this is a hot moment for it. So I'm always at work. I have
Yeah.
a free day today, so
And that's great
getting a
though
little,
that they're selling books, man. That's great.
yeah,
People need to read books.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
Physical media forever. I mean,
yeah. So
yeah.
we'll do our best to do our live stream when we can, but we can't promise you that it will be in 2 or 3 weeks or.
Now, I will announce though that I have a couple of really interesting videos coming up. Um, and let's see, tomorrow I'm going to do it's not going to stream, it's going to be a pre-recorded episode, but I'm going to do a discussion on the top multi-channel discs of all time. And my guests are going to be Cody Brockway and Jonathan Cornell. Jonathan, he doesn't own it, but he's one of the people who works for the immersiveaudioalbum.com website,
Oh,
where what Jonathan does is he goes and he approaches these labels who've released Atmos mixes exclusively to streaming. He cuts a deal for the license and he's able to release them as MKV files through his website, and he's able to distribute them. And he's going to be a real interesting guest, and so will Cody. And then in another 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking to a gentleman named Larry Shore. And Larry was a concert photographer in the 70s and 80s. And he reached out to me because one of his photographs was printed in the Robin Trower for Earth Below box set. But he showed me his portfolio, and he's done pictures of Zappa. He's done pictures of Genesis, of Yes.
the
He's done pictures of
Stranglers,
the Stranglers, Talking Heads, Blondie, Devo.
Evo, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like amazing stuff. And many times he's capturing them at their prime, or in the case of a couple of these new wave artists, slightly before their prime. So it's really interesting stuff. We're going to show his photography, and Larry's going to tell his stories. It's going to be a little departure from what I normally do, but hopefully there's a little bit wider interest in it than maybe some of the surround mix stuff and more like niche topics that I do. So I'm actually really looking forward to these two new these two topic videos that I'm going to be doing. They're going to be different. But in addition to that, I'm going to be reviewing the new SACD of The Royal Scam by Steely Dan, as well as Abacab and A Trick of the Tail. So I got some interesting stuff coming up soon.
Yeah. And Johnny here mentions and Zappa, and nothing else has been announced yet. But on the latest Zappa cast, Joe Travers said that there will be a lot of things happening in the span of this year.
Great.
So that
Save your
could
money.
be, yeah. Don't go to the
Save
show.
your money.
Yeah,
that's right.
And Terry Walker has a nice idea here. which I think we should take into consideration.
I want to do that. It terrifies me. Let me read it. Ian and Mike have done King Crimson and Rush catalog discussions rankings. How about a combined Tull plus Ian Anderson solo discussion? I want to do it. It's just that every time I've sat out to do it, I've gotten way burned out because there's like 38 albums. And it's just hard for me to sit down and really try to listen to those in the span of a short amount of time to prepare it.
Yeah, I don't think you should do that. I think we should just, since, I mean, those albums are part of our DNAs by now.
Yeah.
I think we should just jump around and, talk about how we feel about it. There's no need to listen to 30
Well,
plus
then let's
albums.
plan it. As soon as we're done with the stream, we'll sit down and we'll plan it. How about that?
Yeah.
Good idea, Terry. We're going to do that, man. All right. Larry says, this is the first time I made it through an entire live stream by anyone. And that's awesome, man. I'm so,
thank you, Larry.
That's great. Appreciate that so much. Larry's been a friend of my family for a long time. I don't know if he realizes that, but back in the 90s, my dad was buying stuff off of him, some tapes and stuff. And so like a lot of those old tapes that I saw of Jethro Tull growing up that made me a fan, Larry's responsible for. So thank you, Larry.
Yeah, and he's
Good
also,
man, Larry.
In spite of that, he's also a nice guy.
And he's also a nice guy. Just don't ask him about Round. That would be hard on you guys because, to my knowledge, Tull have no Nostradamus or The Astonishing. I think what Kiefer means is that there's no like god awful Tull album, and I don't know. Like to me, it's like there are a couple of albums that do very little for me. And those are the ones that kind of would make a ranking tough because it's like I don't necessarily have anything bad to say about the Christmas album, but I don't like it that much. I don't know.
There's also a particular live album where songs have been rearranged and it's almost acoustic. I'm not going to name it, but you know which one I'm talking about, which I do not like at all.
Yeah.
And the drummer of it has also played with XTC. So
yes, well, did once, but he played with Fairport Convention more.
Yeah, but
he's a great drummer.
Really want. He's a great drummer. Yeah, he's astonishing. Yeah, but not on that album, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
Johnny B says, "Let's do every Zappa album." Well, not maybe every Zappa album, but we could do something with Frank related periods of eras. Yeah. Okay, I think
I think that's a wrap.
Yeah,
we've still got strong numbers here, so I think it's a good time to cut out. You know, but hey, I want to thank everybody for dropping by and commenting. If you got one last question, you got a minute before we wrap up. So send your wisely. Last questions. Choose wisely.
Very wisely.
But in the meantime, I want to thank all of our listeners and commenters for dropping by. I think this was a well-attended episode. We maintained like around 30 viewers for the whole thing, which is awesome. That's like twice as many as we've done in the past. So that's great. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it does after the fact as well. But most importantly, Jaco, I want to thank you for joining me on this because every Tull box set that's come out for like the last 10 years, you and I have been chit-chatting about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the first time that we've actually like talked about it in person for the first time. Like we did not know what our impressions were going to be. So that was really exciting. Let's answer Kiefer here because Kiefer needs some Tull recommendations. Give me three Tull albums not named Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, or Passion Play to hear.
You go first. Or I'll go first or you go first?
I can. That one. Stand Up.
All right. I was going to say Stand Up.
Yeah.
And I would say Songs from the Wood.
Well, he likes to say it's like Robin Hood Men in Tights. So that's like three Tull albums that are like Renaissance-y. Well, two really. It's really just Songs from the Wood, maybe, and maybe a little bit of Heavy Horses.
Yeah, Johnny says Bursting Out Live. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bursting Out Live, Stand Up, Bursting Out Live, and
maybe he's a metalhead. Maybe Stormwatch. Like I think Kiefer needs to hear Dark Ages.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Think about the Maiden guys. The Iron Maiden guys love that album. The Opeth guys love that album.
Mm-hmm. And so, if you want to go with a deep cut, not everyone likes that album, but I do, and it has some pretty hard rocking guitar.com.
Yeah,
If you
or
want
or even
an
Too Old to Rock
underdog.
and Roll. Like I think that
Yeah,
one's
but
got some.
that's more glamish. But
Yeah,
.com is an actual underdog, and I enjoy it. So
yeah, and people say Minstrel in the Gallery. Yeah, okay. I mean, you're not such a big fan of that one. I
no,
kind of go
I
back and
like
forth
it.
on it.
I
Sometimes I like it more than I usually do.
I
But
like it. It's just that it's my least favorite from the golden era
yeah,
for a variety of reasons.
which is still like a high watermark achievement in my opinion,
Oh yeah, of course.
because
Yes,
there's so
it's
many great albums. I mean, even
told
Benefit,
from
like
a
Benefit might be a good choice.
benefit. Yeah, yeah. Okay, we gave you more than 3 albums, so now
Yeah,
you go and listen to them.
Stormwatch A and Minstrel in the Gallery, great choices.
Hmm.
And just nice to be nice to War Child. I love War Child. I just
I
wouldn't
adore
necessarily
Warchild.
recommend that one because it is
Yeah,
very
but
Elizabethan in nature, but it's got
Backdoor
like Backdoor Angels.
Angel on Sea
Yeah, yeah,
Lion
yeah, yeah.
though. Yeah,
Sea
yeah,
Lion. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
That's a great album. All right. And now,
Okay, guys.
if anyone else doesn't have a question in the next 30 seconds, we're gonna wrap up. So,
Uh, uh, uh,
um,
uh, uh, under wraps.
Jesus Christ.
All right, guys. It's been fun. Thank you again, Jaco.
Thank you for having me here. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed our little discussion. And I was gonna before this the stream started, I was talking with Ian and was asking myself how were we gonna be, how were we gonna make a 2 hour stream with living in the past, and we did that. And we didn't talk about living in the past for approximate an hour or so, but we still
Yeah.
did that.
Well, here's a. Do we want to field this one real quick?
General
What's the?
Crossing.
I was gonna say either I don't want to be me or Truck Stop Runner.
I'm gonna go with General Crossing because that song is I can't curse here, right? I cannot say bad words.
Well, you can't in like the first 5 seconds, but we're nearing the end, so
Okay,
get your
I'm
George
gonna.
Carlin moment out.
All right, it's fucking annoying, General Crossing, and I'm gonna say the other 6 words in the span of 30 seconds. All right, thank you,
Thanks, Z.
Z.
We got to cut off before he curses a blue streak. Bye bye,
Yeah,
everyone. It's been fun. Go listen to some Tall. Bye bye. Thanks.
see you all. Bye bye.